Hello, welcome to Politics 101. Politics 101, uh, Wednesday edition, midweek edition. Welcome to all of you. If you are joining us from Guyana, welcome to Politics 101. If you're joining us from the wider Caribbean, welcome to Politics 101. Good evening to you. If you're coming at us from Barbados, Gwendolyn, good evening. Good evening to the GT Root Gal. Welcome to Politics 101. Are you joining us from North America? Welcome to Politics 101. Of course, we are those in the East Coast United States. Joining us from welcome to Politics 101. Good evening to you, Miss Booker. Welcome to Politics 101. Buxton Burns. Buxton Burns. I woke up this morning and did the Guyanese morning time with Brother Kidackie. And then I went back to take a little nap because I knew I had a long day ahead of me. And I was awakened by a PPP supporter who called frantically and said, David, they're burning tires in Buxton. What's going on? What are your people doing? I said, boy, well, I am not aware. I got up, I did my morning devotion with Kidackie, and I am now taking a little nap to go out and earn my daily bread. And I called Kidackie, who then informed me that indeed they were burning things on the road in Guyana, and I asked him for an update. He gave me an update, and we've been keeping up during the day with what's happening there in Buxton. Buxton burns, as they say. As they say, who is burning in Buxton? What is burning in Buxton? So here we are this evening. Here we are this evening. Shots fired in the air at Buxton as civilians attempt to violently free drug trafficker, according to Kanu. The Customs and Narcotics Unit on Wednesday said that the agents fired several shots in the air at Buxton, where members of the public attempted to free a suspected drug trafficker at the end of a high-speed chase. According to the statement, members of the public became hostile, assaulted several officers, and damaged several of the unit's vehicles in an attempt to free Phillips, who was in lawful custody, by pulling him out of Kanu's vehicle. This resulted in several shots being fired, discharged in the air. This is according to the Kanu statement. We are gathering. Kidackie Amsterdam is on the ground. We're expecting him. He should have been here already. He's not here yet. He's not here yet. Tardiness, as we would say, tardy, not in time for class. You know, when I was a child and you go late to school, Mr. Seaford by the gate, and he firing last. If you move fast, you might get 2. If you move slow, you might get 5. Kidackie, you're tardy. You should be here. Buxton is burning, and Kidackie is not on spot to tell us what is happening from on the ground. From on the ground. Welcome to Politics 101. We're going to be talking about what happened in Buxton there today. We're going to be talking about what happened in Buxton today. Civilians, they say, who are the civilians? What's happening there? What's happening there? And so welcome to Politics 101. Welcome to Politics 101. We're going to be talking about what's happening there in Buxton. Buxton, we're going to be talking about what's happening there. Welcome to Politics 101. Welcome if you're joining us from North America. Welcome Politics 101. Us from Buxton, where they're burning things in Buxton. Welcome to Politics 101. We're going to talk about that. We expect Kidackie Amsterdam to join us. He's not here. He's not answering his phone. I wonder if Kidackie's been burned there. Welcome to Politics 101. Good evening, Ori Newton. Good evening. Good evening to you. Good evening to you, Keith Evans. Welcome to Politics 101. We are going to be talking about what happened in Buxton Bay. What caused it? You've been hearing statements from KANU, statements from the Ministry of Home Affairs. We have been hearing statements from the government. We've been hearing that the young man belongs to the group or gang that is headed by Mr. Demon. We've been hearing all stories. I don't want to arrive at conclusions until I hear it from somebody who is on the ground. Buxton is burning. Buxton burns. Buxton burns. Who is burning it? Who is burning Buxton? Is it supporters of the PPP? We don't know. You see, we go back to the jailbreak in 2002. Buxton get the bad name for that. When that thing was orchestrated from outside. And we know what the consequences of that were. Buxton burns. This morning, we understand that KANU is saying that it attempted to arrest somebody from the village, high-speed chase, lick shot in the air, and according to Demeraria's report, indiscriminate shooting. We don't know. We don't know. But something went down there in Buxton, and we're waiting on Kidackie Amsterdam to join us to give us an update in what's happening there on the scene in Buxton. You know, school calls at 7 o'clock. And the old teachers will say, I just beat you know, when you don't come to school on time. Kidackie's tardy. He's tardy, but he's a good boy, so we will see what happens. So, welcome to Politics 101, Buxton burns. Are you getting what you wish for? Many of you wanted boots on the ground. Are there boots on the ground in Buxton? Are those the kind of boots that you're looking for? We're gonna hear. We're gonna hear what's happening. Are the people who are burning? Those schools are burning, it's the opposition. This is burning, it's the opposition. That is burning in the opposition. Is the opposition burning Buxton? We don't know. We don't know. Guyana is a strange place. Welcome, good evening to Politics 101. You're joining us. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. You play with the puppy, you get bitten by the flea. You play with the puppy, you get bitten by the flea. You go a crab dance. your skin bound to get mud. Is it a case of playing with the puppy and getting bitten by the flea? We don't know. All we know is that they're burning in Buxton. Burn something? Is that what's happening there? Who are burning in Buxton? We're going to get to the bottom of it tonight. Tonight. As I said, I was finishing my sleep. You know, I get up at 3:30 to do Kidackie morning program at 4 o'clock. I do it from 4 to 6. That is Arizona time. And I had a long day. I had to start at 8:30. So between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock, I decided I'm going to get me a little bit sleep that Kidackie take away. And my phone ring and they wake me up and tell me the burning tire in Buxton, a PPP man. Call and tell me that. I said, well, boy, I sleeping. And they just called me the general in Buxton. I did not order my troops to burn tire. So any tire burning is not me troops. One day zoo. And I called down to Buxton and they give me the tech-ups. On a serious note, something went down in Buxton today. We're going to, first of all, hear the facts as we understand it, and then we are going to do an analysis of the facts. The analysis of the facts may take a few days to do, but I am being very careful here. If you notice, I'm asking questions. Friday, we are debuting on Friday the debut of Black Matters. This is Black History Month, of course. Black Matters, our Friday evening edition of Politics 101. Black Matters, starting on Friday. We're going to talk black. And I decided to go that route because the persecution of Black people in Guyana has become permanent. And so I thought that we should have a particular and a special program to talk about Black matters pertaining to Black people. And I also want us to make the point in that thing that Black people matter, where our lives matter, our humanity matters, we matter. Black Matters on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Starting this Friday, the Friday edition of Politics 101. Welcome to Politics 101. Good evening to all of you joining us from near and far. Rhonda, good evening. Good evening. Dan Amsterdam is in the house. Of course, Dan Amsterdam is in the house. Buxton in the house, of course, Buxton in the house. Buxton burns. Not bun, burns. I wonder what's happening in Buxton, the land of my birth. You know, we have our own national anthem in Buxton. You know, we don't play. Thou wilt not cower in the dust. Buxton, my own native land. Thy glorious name shall never rust. Buxton, my own native land. Remember Fredericks, yes, we must. The Buxton scholarship, distrust. And now he slumbers in the dust. Buxton, my own native land. And now may every girl and boy in Buxton, my own native land. Our heart and brain all day employ for Buxton, my own native land. To add to our illustrious line of sons and daughters who all time gave of their best, we may shine for Buxton, our own native land. They don't make sport in that village. They got their own national anthem. They call it the Buxton song. What they're singing that song this morning? Who was burning? Was it the Buxton people who were burning? I understand they were calling for the president to come. Mr. President, did you go? Hey, bye. Mr. President, did you go? I understand they were calling for you, but are you send soldier? Are you send firefighter? Are you send police? The last time you've been there. They call you the last time. Mr. President. You play, you get bitten by the flea. You come, Tory happen. Tory tonight. Is it Nancy Story? Nancy Tory, who been there? Nancy! Who been there? Who been there today? Tory. Nancy Tory, teacher may say, clap you. That better. Clap you. So and so on. Clap you, so and so on. That better. Clap you, so and so on. That better. Nancy! There we go. Welcome to Politics 101. Mr. Kidackie Amsterdam is here finally. Tardiness is not next to godliness. Tardiness is not next. Good evening, Mr. Amsterdam.
Good evening, Dr. Hines. I was here for the last 10 minutes, you know.
Well, you were supposed to be there for the last 15 minutes.
You know, since my days of school, I am one of the students who like to miss assembly. And so I know you usually have a long assembly, so I give you time.
No, today I not been there. Today I was not there. Me not been there. Me not been there today. I am not there.
Oh, me buy him a sell him and I make profit.
Hey. Kidackie, what's happening in Buxton? Walk us through from you're there in the village. The police then come to arrest you. You're a troublemaker. You were supposed to be the one who encouraging people to burn. And so when they wake me up this morning, I said, I did not give Kidackie instructions to burn. Why are they burning in Buxton? According to the PPP, it's the opposition who does burn in Buxton. So when I hear burning, I said, but I talked to Kidackie this morning. He didn't tell me he was going to disobey orders and burn. So, Kidackie, what happened in Buxton? Go back from morning.
Well, you know, they say, y'all gonna get teaching a lot of parables tonight, so you gotta listen and learn. I know there's Monite used to say, who calls off the dog owns the dog.
Yes.
Right? I didn't call off the dog, because I know it's not me own.
So you are on the dog. You did not put boots on the ground.
No. I also know.
You did not burn.
Not at all. Not at all.
You drop him back. You drop him back.
As a matter of fact, when I stepped out to find out what was happening, a son villager said, "Why are you late, sir?"
Your foot shot. Your foot shot.
You know, let me tell you something. Old people say, "Massa bull, massa cow." Massa bull, massa cow.
Massa cow.
It was a case of massa bull, massa cow. Right? You hinted at the fact that at some point in time, some people invited Ali, or they told Ali to come to Buxton, and Ali was in Buxton. The same time he carried a clown, no? Is a clown he carried?
Aye! The same time he interfered with me. I tell you what they put me mind. And I can't remember what Kali, but somebody put it, Kali a short-tail president. He shall go down. Good evening. Well, continue the story. Bye.
Yeah, so The same time he been in Buxton and interfere with you.
Yes.
It's the same. He makes it with his friends and colleagues. As I say, you play with puppy, you get bitten by flea.
Very
well. If you
well.
lay down with dog, you go wake up with flea.
Dan Kunshin said very well. Very well.
For my understanding, and I'm quoting the Moraro waves here, right? I as a matter of fact, let me start. I've been in a quiet corner and I got a message. Hey, somebody got shoot at Buxton Company, and the vehicle ran overboard, as we like to say. And at the same time, they said that for the east, there was gunplay. A number of darkly tinted vehicles in a particular section of the village, and guns ablaze. Well, one certain names call I just stay in corner because it didn't concern me. But eventually I heard that the roads were being blocked and so on, and I ventured out. And when I went out there, I realized that the public road was blocked. Debris was across the road, and fires were lit. I did a brief live on that, as a matter of fact. And after that time, I didn't know clearly what was happening. I went to the railway line, and the same obtained. There was blockage and fire. And then I learned that apparently Kanu, the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, yes, Kanu, was in pursuit of somebody early in the morning. And they had this wild chase through the village. And from information, the Kanu ranks were shooting what people considered indiscriminately. It ended with a vehicle overboard, and perhaps the driver, who the Moraro Wales identified as Odiri. I can't remember his surname. I would have
Phillips,
to
I think Phillips or something.
Perhaps, yes. Likely Phillips. Odiri Phillips. And according to the Moraro Waves, Kanu is reporting that they found in excess of 50 pounds of marijuana in the vehicle and so on. The Moraro Waves also reported and showed image of the vehicle. There's what we call a logo, an emblem on it, marked Team Diamond, right? And Team Diamond is popular in the village. Team Diamond is known to be quote unquote friends with the Ali government. As a matter of fact, every time the Ali government comes to Buxton and heads to the bar ground, Team Diamond is usually by the side of the representatives. As a matter of fact, if you remember when we had that protest on the public road, a lot of people headed to the seawall when the government came and went to the seawall while we were protesting on the public road. And the word on the ground then was that a lot of people were paid. They were given an incentive through representatives of Team Diamond to go to the seawall and ignore the protest, right? So in my mind, I'm examining that relationship so that we can establish that this is a group that is friendly to the government, right?
All right.
As we like.
Stop for a minute, by. So let me get the thing straight. Team Diamond is a group in the village that is known to be friendly to the government. And according to the report, the Kanu people were pursuing a member of Team Diamond. Is that how the story goes?
Based on the Moraro Waves, that is what I'm saying.
Based on the Moraro Waves, yeah, that's what I'm saying, a report, right? And the retaliation that came in terms of blocking the road, are we to assume that it's members of Team Diamond who spearheaded the blocking of the roads, or was this citizens who felt an injustice was being done and decided to block the road? What you're hearing?
I haven't heard. I haven't heard anybody address who really was doing what was being done on the road, and these things are, as I like to say, they can be compounded. They can be difficult to analyze because Buxton is a strange place. If Buxtonians see what they consider an injustice, they're going to stand up against it, right? And so what you might have out there is a mixture of friends and colleagues of the young man and Buxtonians who believe that the Kanu ranks were acting inappropriately.
Indiscriminately, yes.
Yes.
So it's some people who are saying, regardless of whether these people here support the government or not, something wrong is being done to them, and we are going to join this protest. All right? That I think that's what I hear you saying. Right. But the victim belongs to a group who is a friend with the government.
Yes. So, hence,
and who I understand can pick up the phone, and call Mr. Pentler.
Certainly, I understand there's always an open line of communication between Ali and maybe the group leader, group members.
All right, fair enough. So, all right, you go and see the car.
I know for a fact that Nanalal can pick up his phone and call Robin Phillips anytime. But I don't know if Robin Phillips can call Nanalal anytime and get an answer. Right? And they're all facilitators of the government, I would say.
Okay. So you have these facilitators of the PPP in the village, and apparently someone with connection to these facilitators was being pursued by Kanu, and lit shot in the air and so on, and what have you. Did the victim get shot? Anybody got shot? Anybody?
From what you heard? Again, according to the Mirror Waves, I have to quote the Mirror Waves extensively because it's the source of a lot of my information. You know, in villages, people don't talk about certain things, especially when certain elements are right. So, according to the Mirror Waves, Kanu is reporting that nobody is injured, right? But according to Travis Chase, there is definitely evidence of a bullet, as we like to say, piercing the windshield of the vehicle. And it looks like the driver's side. That was pierced.
So there's speculation that...
Maybe, as what people say, the driver escaped by the skin of teeth.
All right. So the people start putting debris on the road, and the things start burning and so on, and what happens next?
Well, basically, the fires were there. Unfortunately, a lorry, a truck as we call it, a long bed truck belonging to some private innocent passerby, I might say, was set afire. And that happened in the presence of the police, I dare say.
Right. No, this thing is at company, right? This thing is at company.
Yes, this is a company.
All right. Hold, don't go too fast. This is a company.
Let me give you an exact direction, man. Let me tell you, I gotta give you a location. A barricade was closest to company. The truck was in front of Charlie's place. You know, Buxton people know that.
All right. Middle street.
Right, the middle street between company and Milwaukee.
Right.
Stay
with me, Kidackie. Stay with me. Don't leave them comments for the time being to concentrate on me. I know when you're there on the comments and you're not concentrating. When you're interviewing me, you can dip on the comments. When I interviewing you, I want you to stay with me.
I'm with you. I see you know comment.
You're gonna deal with them later.
I'm with you.
Comments. Good evening, welcome to Politics 101. I go straight to you like, read comments, read the comments when you hosting, and you are the guest. And the camera on you, you are watching the camera. And the police show up, they lick up the lorry in front of the police. And I understand they stopped the firefighters from putting out the fire?
Well, I tell you, when I was out there, when I did a brief life, I did observe that the fire tender was at Friendship.
Yes.
Right? So if you ask me, as I would say, the firemen were keeping their distance. The fire tender was at Friendship. The police were closer to Gong Zero, if I can call it that. Right? But then I eventually learned that the fire service said they were prevented from putting out the blaze earlier.
Right. And then I hear the soldier that turn up with a bulldozer.
Yes, the soldiers, as usual, the soldiers are made to clean up after the police and everything else. So the soldiers came out, the ranks were, there were quite a number of ranks out there. And bulldozer, excavator, front end loader, whatever you want to call it, to remove the debris from the road. And think that was achieved after some amount of time, but yes, traffic was flowing freely. But about an hour ago, I noticed several vehicle loads, several vehicles loaded with policemen were heading east. I would assume that they were going to the Vigilance Police Station as backup. They were wearing khaki, so the assumption is that they might be members of the riot squad, or they might be trainee ranks in their some kind of uniform. But these look like brand new khaki uniforms, and they were heading east. So I rather suspect that they were reinforcing the number of ranks at the Vigilance Police Station, maybe for some kind of operation in the course of the evening, or simply quote unquote peacekeeping. But usually once the soldiers come out, they stay out for a good while. And so,
so once they clear the road, did people go home or people stood around?
I think people went home because, quite frankly, the village is kind of desolate right now again. It's kind of reminiscent of a time past. A lot of people are not on the road.
A lot of people are not on the road?
People are anticipating. As a matter of fact, let me give you a laugh. Because my daughter goes to lessons on Wednesday evenings. And she normally does, 2 hours up to 8 o'clock, I think. And so I asked her, are you going to lesson today? She said, no. I said, why not? She said, the session's still hot. and so that's the general feeling in the village, that the session is still hot. And so people are staying in their quarters.
People are staying in their quarters, which suggests that what happened there may not necessarily be the people's business, meaning the masses of people, the broad masses of people. Or it seems to us what's happening here, brothers and sisters, is that friends of the government were being pursued by the government police. And the clash led to protest by the friends of the government. Hey, historical melody.
Dr. Hines, if you permit me.
Yes, go
There's
ahead.
another dimension to the story.
All right, tell me.
A lot of people are speculating that this can be a ruse by the government to occupy Buxton.
All right. Yes, there's always a conspiracy
a lot of
part
people
of
are
it.
saying things are heating up in the country, and people are restless and so on. And usually when things get like that, Buxton always comes forward and starts the pushback. And so people are speculating that this could very well be a ruse to get the army and police to come and occupy Buxton, to quote unquote maintain the peace and prevent any kind of pushback against government excesses.
But couldn't it be look at it another way? If the police decide they want to occupy Buxton, they're not provoking. I mean, we hear all these conspiracy theories. The fact of the matter is that there was an incident there that involved a group allegedly that is close to Mr. Ali, that Mr. Ali hangs out with when he comes to Buxton. He was hanging out, I understand, with members of the very group when he interfered with me causing me to tell you what they're on my mind. So there seemed to be some relationship between this group and Mr. Ali. Guyana is a very complex place, and we keep saying that to you all every day as we try our best to bring to you the developments in Guyana. What today may have demonstrated to us, let's leave out the conspiracy theory, is that this government is ready to respond to any public action. The police, the army were quickly on the scene. No, the fact, Mr. Amsterdam, stay with me, Mr. Amsterdam, stay with me. Stay with me. The fact that there seems to have been some restraint shown by the police and the army. Restraint that wasn't shown in Golden Grove. Restraint that wasn't shown in Moko. Something and smell fishy, Kidackie. Forget about the conspiracy theory. But no.
Well, certainly, it has to be fishy, because like one villager was saying to the police, how come you all come with guns ablaze? How come you all licking shot? How come you all aggressive? If I were in your position, I wouldn't even come in, because look how y'all look yourself. Right? Normally, when incidents like these take place, you know the police.
That's right.
Are not usually that calm. We have recent history the way they treated Golden Grove, right? And so yes, one has to ask, why the restraint?
Good evening, my sister Donna Allen. Why the restraint? If a man get drugs, Bunny, and he's fleeing the police and the police follow and so on and so forth. And people, according to Demerara Waves, Demerara Waves fall into the trap and say residents. Demerara Wave didn't say whether these were residents, these residents were the broad masses, or the residents or members and associates of this group. The Mararis lump everybody as residents, and it's always unkind to villagers. We remember when we had the jailbreak story in 2002, and Buxton, they said Buxton, everything was Buxton and then Buxtonians. What was lost there is that that thing was initiated from outside of Buxton, and the men who were in there were, for the most part, non-Buxtonians. Eventually, they recruited Buxtonians. But what was always lost on people is that this thing was not initiated by Buxtonians at large, and but it has gone down in history that the whole jailbreak thing from 2002 was them Buxtonians. And I want to make that point here, that if what the Mirror Waves is reporting is true, then again, the village is being used as a location for a kind of, we can call it for now, a combat. It seems as though this combat is between a group sympathetic to the government and the Kanu. And the Kanu. I tell my PPP friend this morning that boy is a PPP fighting among itself in the village. That was my initial response. And so let us try to put this thing in context. It was not the PPP, the PNC, sorry, or the WPA, the two parties that are active in Buxton. Obviously, they had no attempt. Kidackie's here with us. You know, they lock up Kidackie in Georgetown for using an IZ instrument. In the village, they get lick shot and burning going on, and they lock you up. So I am assuming he ain't got nothing to do with it. And here they said the PNC got anything to do with it. So we have to assume that other agents are wrapped up in this thing. And the fact that the police show up and it ends shooting up. In fact, the police, you understand, was backing off, and so on. Something is going on here. The president has to speak. The president has to speak. Because the president, if it's true that it's the same group, the president was hanging out with this group or members of the group. I understand the people were saying today that Mr. President, come. The people that selling the road there, did the protesters steal anything from people, stray, the alcohol and so on? Like them people selling there and thing. Anybody goods get steal today, Mr. Kidackie?
Well, not that I'm aware of, but I certainly am aware of people calling for the president to come. They did call for his presence, and I've seen him go to places without even a call, quite frankly, right? Without even a call. As a matter of fact, I'm remembering when he came to Buxton and called you a joker, or asked who joker that is.
No, he interfered with me. He interfered with me. When he came to Buxton and interfered with you. Yes.
Right. It was just around the time when Monrepo's had that little issue.
It was the same day.
Yes, and I remember seeing a video of a particular individual saying, the president, Mr. President, you gotta come to Buxton. And he did turn up.
I saw that
but
video.
Here people are saying, Mr. President, you need to come to Buxton, and we haven't heard him come as yet. I noticed Robson issued a statement saying that he's willing to discuss the issues with Buxtonians.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
He asked them to stop on the road, stop protesting, and he's willing to come and have, I would say, conversation with Buxtonians to discuss what the problem is.
But this problem was not initiated by quote-unquote Buxtonians, meaning the Buxton masses. This is the problem. He's now making the problem a Buxton problem. The problem, the incident occurred in Buxton, but not a Buxton problem. And this government is so deceitful. They want to take the attention away from what the real issue is. And we want not to fall into that trap. Not to fall. Mr. Ben should have been in Buxton and Victoria and Golden Grove and BV and Pleasance a long time, as a matter of course, because those black villages are under assault. But Buxton is not under assault. Buxton was not under assault today. Let's make that clear. From everything that I have read, what Kidackie said here today, Buxton was not under assault. Something else happened. That Robson Ben and Irfan Ali and them must tell the nation. Kanu gave us the raw material. Buxton was not under assault. Buxton was not under assault today. Let's make that clear. So we don't run Robson Ben to come to discuss anything with Buxton. Robson Ben must say, I want to discuss with our friends in Buxton. He doesn't have to come to Buxton for that if it's true that his friends were burning, you know, or his friends caused the burning. I don't know. But I know Buxton was not under assault. Buxton did nothing to warrant the police presence there and the soldier presence. Kidackie, Amsterdam. You were there. You were there. Is there anything that you want to tell us that you missed?
Well, all I want to say is that I said it earlier in the week, I think yesterday, quite frankly. Sometimes I think I'm prophetic. It is, I think yesterday was Tuesday. Yes, I think yesterday I had a brief discussion of an encounter I had on the road with I remember the same good blocking the road with his car. Right? And I said to Buxtonians, you gotta be vigilant. Don't let us give up like in the 2000s. Don't let us allow things to go wild like the 2000s. We can't live in fear. We can't, we got to be more vigilant, and we have to protect our community, right? And we have to protect our community and not let the falling out between friends or among friends drag us into anything unpleasant like the 2000s. Because like I said, there are very many theories. People are saying, listen, once you have this kind of behavior from Kanu towards certain people, it suggests that there is a falling out between these people and their friends in government, right? And if friends fall out, you Buxtonians must understand to hold the car and don't get dragged into people and their fights. And that is one of the things I want to say to villagers. And be very careful of the fights you're getting involved in. Sometimes they don't concern you. They don't concern you.
And I think that's a very, very important point. Go right ahead. Continue.
We have to do that. With regard to Robson Ben and wanting to come to Buxton and people calling on Ali to come to Buxton and he has not responded and so on.
Who people calling for your friends them?
Well, I heard people on the road say we want the president come.
There is a very healthy sense of sarcasm, as we say in the village in Buxton. My understanding of Buxtonians tell me that call for Ali to come is pregnant with sarcasm. Pregnant. Don't make sport with ordinary people. They're often ahead of us. That reeks of sarcasm, Mr. Ali, come.
This is the time for Ali to show himself a strong man like he did in Morocco. Let him come and show that he's not a weak president. Right? Because he said he had to do what he had to do in Morocco to prove that he's strong. He doesn't want nobody consider him weak. So Buxtonians are calling for him to come. He should come.
Facetiously.
Right?
Facetiously. I don't think Buxtonian wants him to come. Buxtonians are saying, if you like to come, come.
He has to settle the family dispute. We can't get this thing going on. Reminds me of the poem I quarrel with my brother. I don't know what about. One thing led to another, and somehow we fell out, right? He said he was right, but I knew he was wrong. So they got to settle his family dispute. Can't get it going on and on like that.
Good evening, Mr. Dennis Atwell. I know I owe you a visit with your group there at Orange Walk. We had a wonderful meeting a few months ago, and then I traveled shortly afterwards. Christmas was not time to do a lot of moving around. Good evening, Dennis, and I want you to know that we still have, I'm not going to put the blame on Kidackie. I'm not going to do that, but Kidackie is responsible for organizing a follow-up with us, and he shall be there sooner rather than later. It's good to see you on. Mr. Ford, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Politics 101. It's George Tanner, who is one of our thoughtful viewers, is on tonight. Welcome to Politics 101. We are trying to put what happened in Buxton, because I'm sure plenty of you all, when you are in the burning time in Buxton, you say, around the revolution start, right? Boots on the ground, the Buxtonians, they now wake up and so on and things. And we want to say, Buxton did not initiate what happened in Buxton today. Buxton is not under assault. That what happened in Buxton attracted the police and the army and the firefighters, but they were there standing around standing around. They weren't shooting up and carrying on as they usually do. And we are surmising, big word, surmise, but you know what it means. We are surmising that thing not regular, thing not regular in the camp of those who govern by enforcing. Those who govern by enforcing. We have had our fair share in Buxton when things are regular between 2002 and 2006. Our village has not recovered from that experience. Many people lost their lives. Just as the police was doing today, the army was doing today, pursuing people and shooting left, right, and center. And here is where the village would come in. Lots of villagers were shot in crossfire. And that is what brought the village in to the 2002 thing. It's when the spillover happens, and then the village gets involved. When Kanu was going shooting up this morning, a villager could have been shot. Thank God that didn't happen. It happened in 2002, 2006. And that's where the village can now become involved in a matter that was not initiated by the village. So although we are saying this is not a matter that directly involves the people in Buxton, the fact that it is happening on the soil of Buxton, which makes Buxtonians vulnerable. But for now, we can report that the story today did not have anything to do with our villagers writ large, that our villagers were not the ones who were burning, that the burning was happening and the police operate soft. And we rather think that the reason for that was that the potential protesters got friends in high places. Good evening. Good guy. Give me my first job when I gone to Washington, D.C. Working the graveyard shift at a gas station. Ulrich Patterson, very good friend of mine, very good friend. You're talking 30 odd years, you know. Give me my brother George, graveyard shift. George was smarter than me. George come in after me. So George had to take the graveyard shift. And I shift down during the day. But George would go to work with his pajamas. And after 12 o'clock, he closed off, put on his pajama, and gone in one of the customer cars that left. And the owner for the gas station passed in at 2 o'clock in the morning and rapping for George to open. George get up, he didn't take off his pajama, he go with the pajama and open for the owner. Like nothing happened. The owner come the next morning, he said, David, your brother is something else. I said, what he did, Mr. Jonas? I rapped it. He was sleeping in his pajamas. And he didn't even hide. He came with his pajamas and opened for me. I did what I had to do, and he closed the door with his pajamas. But Ulrich Patterson had to deal with that situation because Ulrich is the boss, he's the manager. My brother George in that 3 cents. Good evening, George Hines, and all your friends. Ulrich Patterson, those were the days, man. Those were the days. You know, you go to America, you got to do your time. You know, one thing, there was a network there. Them boys get a job lined up for you before you land. We had a place called the Buxton Market. You go there on Friday night, and them boys say, all right, we're starting Monday, boy. You're starting Monday. Where you starting? You gotta go and walk with Mr. Gordon. He does landscaping. And Mr. Gordon tell George, he said, George, I am in beautification business. To start on Monday, George dress up. You know he going and do landscape. That's what it is. Good evening, Politics 101. Mr. Vibert White. Mr. Vibert White. Mr. Ozia Morgan. I'm not causing trouble with the Morgans here tonight because Morgan Sr. is carrying on at a rate. And Ozia, the son, is on. Mr. Morgan, your son is on. You cannot carry on at a rate. Discussing what happened in Buxton, and I'm noting your comments, and I want us to be very clear about what's happening. Because already the government is beginning to frame this thing as though Buxtonians behave bad today. You know, there's going to come a time when you push people, they will behave bad. They will behave bad. I am certain about that. I'm certain about that. No, but don't try to make it look Buxton people behaving bad. Good evening, Mr. Oren Newton. You're a bad boy. Bumbo. I won't let everybody know your false name. You're a very bad boy. I spent 5 weeks was looking for you, every corner, every piece, looking. I send out people to find you. They can't find you. You know, you have a lot to answer for. Good evening, Betsy. Betsy Watson, what a name. The residents of Buxton protesting for the release of a drug dealer guy and is not a real place. Again, you see, this is the story, Betsy. This is the story. And I know that is going to be the story that will prepare. Betsy, you're wrong. Betsy, you're wrong. We are trying here as much as possible. We're trying not to call names. We try to tell you, read between the lines. Buxtonians were not protesting for any drug dealer. That's what we are trying to get over here tonight. But you see, some people already fall for the thing. Kidackie, Amsterdam. I've talked long. Your turn to talk now.
Well, you know, I saw a comment here from somebody asking why Buxtonians want the person arrested for this drug to be released. And now I'm hearing you say somebody is saying Buxtonians protesting for the release of a drug dealer. And you see, that is why it's important that we have these discourses in a very public way. A lot of people would like us to really talk about it hush hush. A lot of people talk about it hush hush out of fear. But the reality is, we cannot sit idly by and allow people to just malign our village and malign the residents, the law-abiding citizens, the residents of Buxton. According to the news, again, is saying, right? Again, I'm saying, according to the Marawi's, this was a canoe operation, which resulted in somebody arrested with in excess of 50 pounds of marijuana or something like that. Tempers flared. Based on the Demarawa's information, the people whose tempers flared and who this young man is associated with are friends of the government. Let me take you back to a time when friends of the government were having their way misbehaving. That was a Raja Khan era in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And not when that fallout took place. Don't forget, one of the Bacchuses, I think it was George Bacchus, or it was George Bacchus's brother, who was one of the earlier casualties, and he was a government. The Bacchuses were friends of the government.
Yeah, George Bacchus, Princess Street. He was probably the first casualty. Yeah, he was the first casualty.
He dared to challenge the government, despite he was in their camp. He dared to tell them that they were doing wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we can't lose sight of these things. This is not Buxtonians demanding no drug dealer be released or alleged drug dealer, because the man is not proven guilty yet.
That's right. That's right. We don't even know if the man if the drugs were in there. They're alleging that the man had 50 how much thing drugs. But the point here, and that is why we are trying to say to you all must listen. We're saying all night that this issue was not initiated by Buxtonians. That this is an issue between Kanu and a group in the village that is friendly with the government. Now, you may have a group of 10 people, but they may have their followers, their girlfriends, their, you know, little boys who follow them and admire them and so on and so forth, right? And you may tell yourself these are Buxtonians writ large. No, it's not. It's not. And that's what we are trying to say. And the state report, it was alleged that the godfather of Buxton was arrested. Betsy, you know the story, and yet you're saying that Buxtonians calling for the release of a drug dealer. The godfather was arrested. I don't know. Maybe she's talking about the leader of the group. I don't know. I have not seen the Travis Strait report, but the story is developing. Now, that's a story that this is an event village. Because if the police persist in going in the village behind these people that they are alleging are into wrongdoing, they may shoot up and shoot some innocent person in the village. Then you get the village involved. But for now, Betsy, it ain't got anything to do with our village. And we are so conscious of it because to this day, I meet people, younger people, who know nothing about Buxton, except the fact that Buxton was a bad place with people who bad. Buxton, oh God, me ain't going there. And this is 20 years later, after that thing that happened in Buxton. And it was not initiated by our village. But and very early here, we are seeing people, despite what we are trying to say, going off and saying Buxtonians are protesting for the release of a drug dealer. And we are trying to walk softly because we know what we are in the face of. Kidackie?
Yes, sir.
Your closing statements?
My closing statements are simple. First and foremost, the media must do its work and report accurately, because when the media misreports or miscommunicates, then a lot of people get stigmatized. It happened in the past, and it can very well happen again in this current time. Secondly, villagers, I'm pleading with you again. Choose your fights. Choose your fight. As old people say, not everything in come knock you must run to. You must be able to assess the situation and treat with it accordingly. In this instance, you know me, I missed the protest. I like to have people protest. I like to say there's a reason for protest. In this instance, I'm saying, in massacre or massacre, let them figure it out, let them sort it out by themselves. Do not get caught up in something that really and truly doesn't concern you. When they mash your toe, is a different time. But in the meantime, stay a corner. Stay a corner.
Stay a corner, walk a corner. Right? Stay a corner, walk a corner. Thank you, Kidackie, for bringing us up to date. Please keep on top of the story, because we'll continue to cover it tomorrow night to see if the story has legs and where the legs are taking the story. There's a call for the president to visit. Mr. Irfan Ali, put on your cap. Put on your cap on your head. You know, make you look cool. You look like one of the boys in the corner, and they don't know me. They don't know. They know who they're dealing with. They know me. Why you go? Oh, Master. They're calling you, boy. They're calling you, Irfan. They're calling you. Go. Pops, John Abrams is reporting that Ras Tom Dalgetty was robbed and his important personal documents taken. Please call for anyone. Now you're asking me, anyone finding the documents, please drop it off at Channel 9 or say something to Dion Abrams in his mailbox. But you know, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that Ras Dalgetty was robbed, but his documents. So please, if you find the document, please drop it off at Channel 9, or contact Leon Abrams via his inbox. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight and for us to be able to straighten some of the facts regarding what happened in Buxton today. And I hope that Travis Chase was live for 2 hours in Buxton, the white car of the alleged drug dealer with bullet holes in the windshield, and so on and so forth. Good evening, Fitzralph, one of my comrades on the streets. We Fitz used to be one of the comrades in the streets in the days of Mark Benshaw, of Lincoln Lewis, David Hines, Fitzralph, Freddie Kissoon used to be there with us, and so on. Freddie has retired. Fitz, he has retired from that kind of protest. He has a big work now. He got an office work. You know, he has an office work to curse his former friend. Fitz, he cuss you, he probably forget. And if you listen to the program tonight and you hear Fitzwalf, he gonna start cussing you. He forget you. Dennis Atwell, of course, I acknowledge. So I'm gone. Tomorrow night we continue to speak truth to power, and we'll continue to watch this story as it develops. Remember, our motto here is that we inform, we educate, we learn, and we mobilize for the permanent struggle. Black man don't get nothing easy. So when you see the black man get a little something, you got to hold on tight to a little something, because black man don't get it easy. That's the Black Stallion, Leroy Calise, Dr. Leroy Calise, recently departed. Profound calypso. Black man don't get nothing easy. Black man don't get nothing easy. Remember that. And we're gonna start a show specifically for the black man. Black Matters. Debuting on Friday night, the Friday Night Politics 101 edition. Black Matters. Friday night. I'm gone.